Yeah, well, it's the best place for gas, actually. So you want to get some good gas and then good beer down the road. And just about 5 minutes from the 20. So it's a good little quick trip from Quebec, Montreal. And
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. Today we are still in the Montérégie region of Quebec. Specifically, we're in the borough of Saint-Liboire, and joining me today is Brian from Perspective Microbrasserie, or Perspective Brewing.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
Thank you very much for hosting us today. Really appreciate anybody who's willing to take time out of their schedule to speak with us about clearly their passion and their love of craft beer and everything when it comes to supporting local companies.
Yeah, well, that's right. Here to talk about my brews.
Yeah.
Talk about my beer and my small little company here.
So we got a beer to start. What's this first one we're drinking here?
Well, it's actually my session IPA here. Mm-hmm. It's an ever-evolving session IPA. It's pretty light tasting, easy drinking, as a session should be. And I always change up the hops every version to try to get that perfect recipe I want to achieve here.
Awesome. As we do on the show, a toast. Yes. Oh, beautiful nose. What's the alcohol on this roughly?
3.8% about.
Super sessionable.
Under 4% is what I call a nice little session here.
It's like hoppy water.
Yeah, kind of keep it all light, not too round as a session should not be, in my opinion, and keeping the hops I love playing with the hops. This one is Mosaic and Belma. I did Citra and Mosaic, I reckon, the other ones. I enjoy the hops a lot, so...
Super crushable. I could probably drink a bunch of these while playing or watching my friends play softball. It's super light, very refreshing. Like I said, hoppy water, it feels like. So that's a fantastic beer. So what's the beer story? What is the creation of Perspective as a brand? What brought you into brewing and craft beer in general?
Well, passion of home brewing brought me into brewing commercially here with Perspective. Started brewing in the mind that I wanted to get my company up and going. So straight up, I just went up full on with nice recipes, a draft system, just to get as much beer out and in. Got drunk a lot, so. But it was always good fun getting those recipes up. Always aiming to achieve a better quality every time. Played a lot on the IPAs. I did a lot of Brett's as well when I was home brewing. Not anymore, since I'm not equipped as much as I would like to do some Brett fermentation, but mainly playing with IPAs, sours, fruited sours. So this was mainly my goal. So I started home brewing, looking at the goal, and 5 years later, I was brewing in my own brewery. So
cool. All home taught. You didn't go to school or anything like that for the Sure Brew, I think it's called. So.
Well, I did a little course here at lab here in st-hyacinthe. Did a little stage at Pit Caribou with Francis Jonca. Was it? I don't remember. Well, Francis wasn't there. I was brewing with Le Druide at that time. Really cool dude. Taught me a lot of stuff as well. Just a few days just to get me the hang of what all my questioning about. Going from home brewing to commercial brewing was a whole another level. So he answered a lot of my questions. And after that is doing the planning and everything and getting the name out as well. Perspective, which is out of the blue as well. Why should I call it Perspective? And mainly it was before I had a plan with chatting with a buddy, and we were beside a railway actually, and which is actually the logo, which is a railway. So I liked it, kind of the perspective, and it just stuck in my head and never got away. So I kept up with the name.
Plus, there's already a railway city in Ontario, so you don't want to use that.
I don't want to go like that.
Yeah, you got to be, careful. Look at, I'm sure you know, Drew from Kanawaki. He used to have another name, and then it's like, oh, I can't be named that.
Yeah, so you got to do your chores and look up, especially with all my funky names, and I always look up on the names, and so I don't have any lawsuit coming in my back here.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the last thing you would need is as a startup. You could clearly see you're a smaller operation than some places. The last thing you need is somebody slapping oh, you've been served. Oh, fantastic. That's
Well, it's not too bad to change a beer name, especially that I don't brew my brews more than once. So it's easy to just say, well, next one I won't name it the same, and I'll keep my word, and I won't name it as your beer, dude. So,
well, so beer names themselves I find aren't so bad. I'm sure there's a brewery in Pennsylvania that has a Mothman brewery, and then another brewery in, let's say, California who loves cryptid creatures. They probably also have a Mothman, but the actual name of the brewery itself, you don't.
You don't want that. I'm trying to be careful with my beer names as well. Just for the Quebec, Canada scene, just check if Vermont beer breweries have the same name or not. But try to do my little homework on there.
I mean, perspective is pretty unique too. It's got so many meanings. The word perspective. It's like you mentioned the railway thing, but it's also like the vision of where you're going.
Well, it's especially that. That's why I kept it. It's like nobody told me how to brew actually, so I did my homework, did my studies, and it's actually my own perspective, and trying to get my own recipes out, and that's why the name stuck as well.
I mean, as you mentioned, pre-roll, you open March of 2021, full pandemic going on.
Oh yeah,
it's
full pandemic wasn't too bad for me because I wasn't aiming for draft lines or restaurants serving them. So it was just cans, throwing out cans, and so actually my business plan was better because of the pandemic. But all the stuff we needed was slowly skyrocketing. The price, the import price, was getting higher. So that was a bit of a pain. But mainly the pandemic just made it easier for me at the beginning.
I mean, clearly it's we'd spoken with other breweries, and it's like, my equipment was stuck in Vancouver. And I was just waiting for it to show up. And you're another brewery that I don't personally understand. We're just like, for people we've spoken with, we're 50% open before the pandemic and 50% open during the pandemic, which is wild. And some guys have mentioned Third Moon Brewing. They're like, it actually helped us because we got to not have to rush out there. We got to really flesh out the plans.
Yeah.
And here's what we wanted, and we didn't have to rush. It did obviously cost money, which sucks, and that's always something I like to talk of is some problems clearly outside the pandemic, some problems you ran into, but for some people it helped.
Yeah, well, that's the point, since they probably didn't have the tap room to man as much at the beginning, so it was easier for them to focus on their beer making and not serving the beer. Yeah. So yeah, I get the point.
Yeah, but besides clearly the pandemic, any kind of other problems creating the Perspective brand, from either finding a location, deciding, I want to stick to the Montérégie and not do Montreal and have to travel every day. Like, what were some problems you kind of ran into creating Perspective?
Yeah, well, the first plan was to stay local. Well, where near I live. First plan was in Saint-Hyacinthe. That's first problem I ran into was, everybody runs into cash flow. So getting the cash in, getting people on board, getting the banks. So I started planning in Saint-Hyacinthe. Didn't turn out for them. Then shifted around locally. I wanted to be over here. Approached a guy, and the vision of getting a garage here, a brewery up for me. Then with the pandemic coming up, he said, well, it's kind of a bit risky. So I just looked in the back of his little house here, saw that little garage. It's like, peeked in the window, saw that little place here. It's small. I can work with that. So I got those fermenters up. I got my brew house here, custom built, and everything seems to be working for now. We're playing Tetris a lot, but so that was a major hurdle getting the plan up and going. So about since the day one I wanted to start, I reckon 4 years for it to start up. So back and forth with a lot of people, getting the business plan out. Had some good people with me on that in Saint-Hyacinthe. So did something solid, and numbers are crunching up okay. So pretty happy with that though.
I mean, you're clearly very busy. We've been trying to set this up before the most recent lockdown. You're like, well, my kids have stuff. I'm like, okay, well, he's got kids, and you got this other. And clearly, it's like, I was constantly seeing your cans on shelves nowadays. So you're your life outside the brewery is obviously extremely busy as well.
Yeah,
so
well, that's it. You got the family. I'm lucky to have my girlfriend in the adventure with me. She's a co-partner with the brewery, and helping me a lot with the brewery and the kids, and synergy with the family. It's going pretty well. But like everybody, family is number 2 priority. Well, number 1, getting the money for them, and brewery is about half and half, I would say. So getting the good balance of the work and the family. It's kind of it's a must, I reckon.
It's 1 and 2, but they're both number 1 at the same time. When
that's right. Like job is job. Like you need it for the family, and you need to be happy with the family as well. So.
But I mean, from what I've just tasted in this beer alone and the other beers I've already had, is you're clearly very passionate about what you do. So I can't see you sitting at a desk job like I do. You need to get your creativity out there.
Since 2005, 6, since I left school. Traveled a little bit, but came back, and I was a graphic designer. Did graphic design and then websites, multimedia designer. Worked for a company. We did some phone applications, which turned out pretty good. And then I quit that to start my to be freelance, and that's when I just popped to get, okay, I'll put half of my time in the brewery building and keep up my contracts. But it was a good thing though, because then again I do all my graphic design and do my website, stuff like that, which is not up to date. But well, in French you call it a cordonnier mal chaussé, which I don't know how you translate that in English. But it's anyways. Don't go to the website. Go to Facebook. Anyways, for now, at least, I'll have a little store up eventually. But I said, you got to keep that balance up with the.
For us as a show, is supporting a local business, getting local businesses' names out there, whether it be Quebec, Ontario. When we could travel to the U.S. again, is we're not going to Sab Miller or Labatt or Molson. We're coming in to visit guys like you who. I can see, with the designs, with the taste of the beer, is this is my creativity in a glass.
Yeah, well, that's one point. Like, I really enjoy the science. I really enjoy the design, creativity. So, like, making beer is a melting pot of two. Like, you gotta work with the science, gotta work with the taste buds, and get something flowing and something good. So, which I think is not too bad. So I try to work some good beers out, having fun with that.
Oh, it's clear too, because I'm seeing your name out there, and Kenneth Villeray is like that. The day we're doing this interview is the weekly special there.
Okay, yeah,
which is great because obviously somebody at Kenneth Villeray is like, no, we're gonna do the Montérégie this week, and we're gonna have perspective.
Yeah, it's really cool from their part. It just popped up on Instagram. Hey, you're the Vox Pop 4-pack of the week. It's like, hey, thanks, Kev. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and I mean, I constantly say, support local, support local, support local. There's no question about it. We should have been supporting local all along, and the pandemic put a lot of people's perspectives more into supporting local businesses like yourselves.
Being supported by locals as well is pretty awesome. Like, from the day one over here, it's been crazy. We're just a little town. It was 3,000 people over here in Saint-Liboire, and people just been buying beer. Like, the grocery store here is my number one seller here. So it's been crazy. Like, a lot of people come over here, like, they chat about the beer, and it's great to hear about that support, and I enjoy that.
So clearly the town council and the mayor and stuff were like, I want a brewery in Saint-Liboire.
Oh yeah, from day one since I approached them, like, they were they all like beer. It's like, come over here. Like, I want you guys here. So they accommodate us, lead us to where we need to be, and we're aiming for a terrace this summer, and they're just changing around the plans with us since we wanted like a container, just like Shepherd La Ferme. It's pretty awesome. So it's easy setup. Doesn't cost much because it's pretty small. So we're looking to change place. What about in a year or two max? So that's something we're aiming at. So we wanted something really easy to move around. So So we had a little terrace with a proposition with the town council, and they said, yeah, we'll just change things up, making sure like it's not going to screw up our plans with our laws. So they're really supportive.
I've noticed with the La Naudières and the Canton de l'Est is they have beer kind of treks.
Yeah.
Do you see the Montérégie doing that sooner rather than later?
I hope so. Like I saw, was it Pierre Clermont, which is on the site called Facebook group called Capsules Bière, and he's always posting good stuff about historical beer facts, and he had like a little map of our little region over here, from here to Sherbrooke, which is started about with Saint-Hyacinthe, with the two ones there, and he had me, and then Bob, then Richmond as in a new brewery, then you had Shefford, and it was a nice little trek. You could go all the way from Saint-Hyacinthe till Sherbrooke. It's a long trek, a bit longer, I reckon, than Canton de l'Est. But if you got a good driver, which will drink little sessions or water here for you guys, it's nice little, I think, a little road to do.
Yeah, we say that. Don't drink and drive.
No.
All right, let's do beer number 2 here. Théorie number 11.
Yeah, Théorie number 11, which is mainly my first IPA I brewed for the brewery here. For Perspective, and it's an ever-evolving IPA, which a lot of people, I call them more IPAs than double dry IPAs in New England, but it's more of a New England mouthfeel to it. I always tweak the recipe to change the yeast here and there, and especially the hops. I work with the hops a lot. So this one is my 1-year anniversary, which was last week. All Citra, because I really enjoy Citra.
All right, a toast.
Toasting.
Oh, beautiful. Nice and juicy. Not like overpowering juice, because there's some IPAs, like double dry hop IPAs, which are like just drinking juice, which is the worst part because you're drinking 8% juice and then you're feeling really well.
Well, you have a little bit of bitterness here. Yeah. Even I'm not aiming to add it, it's just too much hops gives that bitterness a little bit. Yeah. But mainly, just toying around with those hops, trying to get that juiciness to stay, and you want to drink juiciness, but not an orange juice at the same time.
Yeah. It's I'm sure you've been there, but Emporium, it's like just juicy IPAs all the time, and it's great having been able to just buy beer there. Hopefully, like I said, supporting Quebec is getting back to Quebec City and drinking beers in Quebec City, and you're pretty much halfway to Quebec City.
Yeah, so pretty much halfway.
I'm sure you're getting the people going into Montreal, and they're like, oh, that's going to hit you, Bob Magnell, and all the other people in Montérégie on the way to Montreal, and then vice versa, where I'm heading up. Oh, okay, so I can hit you, and you guys are literally right off the highway from what I've seen.
Yeah, well, it's the best place for gas, actually, so you want to get some good gas and then good beer down the road. And just about 5 minutes from the 20, so it's a good little quick trip from Quebec, Montreal.
And each of you guys, I've mentioned it with Brew Revolution in Ontario, it's friendly competition. It's yes, I want this guy to buy my beer, but I also want him to go buy Bob's beers down the street.
It's all a friendly kind of community. For sure, like it's business is business. We want people to buy our beer, but I support the guys down there. I buy their beer. I want to try their beer. I want to taste their beer. Like everybody does their art different ways. So it's just community is tight knit as well. So you just ask for questions, and they just give you answers. And it's a nice community.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, so you mentioned art. Now your labels, obviously, you have the front and the back. Yeah. And you said you are the graphic artist. Do you do both sides, or do you just
it's actually,
do one side?
It's my little knack here. Like I really enjoy doing the graphic design in the front. That's my part. And then every can has an invited artist on it. Every can has a different one. Like I just switched that up here for the show. Like every can has a different artist on it, which is an invited one, like more word to mouth artists. Like they come over here, like I chat with them, and they give me a couple of arts, and like I do a beer, it's like put that artist on it, and it's just visibility for them, which I find was a nice little thing, because artists are in their own little world, like little bubble, and beer is another bubble from them. So getting it them in the scene. It's another pair of eyes that kind of look their art, and which I enjoy. It makes the can nice, interesting to look at, and I get a lot of good reviews and ratings. Like people rave about it. It's like, your cans are really nice. Like, yeah, like the art is nice, and I reckon I do a nice little design as well. Try to keep up the branding, I reckon, on it. So like just pushing the artist it's a nice reward for me, because they always love being on there. Like they chat about it. They say they're always happy about it. So and their reward is having a lot of people see their art, get them known a bit, and and the Théorie, which is my flagship, is always my sister, Melissa, which I adore her art. So artwork is really crazy. So no, that's a.
I mean, craft beer is art and science put together.
That's it. Like it's art science. This is visual art. So just having fun with that. And if any artists want to be on my cans, well, they're invited to send me an email here. So I'll have a look at your art, and I'm not picky. I just want to get you guys out.
Yeah, no, and it's fantastic. It's and that's for me is what'll draw me sometimes. Is some weeks it'll be I'm buying a style, and then some weeks when I go buy beers, I'm buying neat looking cans. And so that's me. That's clearly not everybody else.
No, like a lot of people are going to go by style.
Yeah.
That's all, and their knowledge of beer. But some people that go to a IGA, there's no beer geek that's going to tell them what to take. Well, they're going to go by eye. So they're going to take the nice looking one with that. They like that skull. They like that little kitty on it, and they'll just take whatever their look is drawn to. So.
That's one grocery store I'm very impressed with. I know IGA in Montreal, their craft beer selection is something.
Yeah, like a lot of people, I think they now know that there is a lot of good craft beer. And there's good money for them to be making, because most of the Labatt, they sell a lot, but they don't make a lot of money on it. So they go with the craft beer, they got a good margin, and they're happy about that. So pushing us forward is nice for us, if it's kept in good conditions, and it's good to have them on the scene here, so we can actually get a bit more beer out.
We do have the convenience of being in Quebec, where we do actually have beer stores. We don't have to go to like an LCBO or what's called the beer store in Ontario.
Our beer stores are really awesome, actually. Let's see, you mentioned La Canette, the Peluso, Espace Doublon, like all those like specialty stores, and they know their shit, and they like telling people what to buy, and they appreciate beer as much as we do. So they just ask them whatever you want, and they'll give you the best looking beer or the best tasting beer in their own opinion. So
that's another important part with our show is we've been lucky enough to interview beer stores, Bière à Boire in Saint-Constant, Bodega in Pointe Saint Charles, and other beer stores in Quebec, Montreal that we want to get to. Just depending on the size, obviously, like Malte Hops is the size of a closet, but we are going to interview them because they are part of this craft beer community to spread the word and the love of local products.
Yeah, and they're really important because visit Philip Woolers. I listened to one of his podcasts there, and he had some numbers that he crunched with Bakke and some other people, and I think the specialty stores are about 8-10% of the numbers of spots, but they sell like 35% of the craft beer on the scene, so which is quite interesting. So like you just want to go there and have good people tell you which beer you should taste, which is the new stuff that you could taste, because there's a lot of beers out there. So it's a good thing to support them, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean we've spoken with Jordan St. John, one of the main Ontario beer writers, and he said, the big guys really suffered this last year, because keg sales plummeted. But can sales or bottle sales for guys like you and other store, that actually helped you.
Yeah, for us, like my business plan, like I mentioned earlier, was basically selling cans and not draft. So my pandemic was good for me. I reckon.
So we're to hear is pandemic was good for me.
It's never good, but like it was good, like for the sales, but not good for the I reckon the head and stuff. But like I didn't suffer from that. I popped up in the pandemic, but Like you mentioned, the graph lines being closed. I reckon the sale of balls in Ontario, maybe it was due to the fact that they couldn't sell those kegs anymore and didn't have the money, or maybe it was in the works before that. But I don't know.
Yeah,
It hurt a lot of people with the big ones actually.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, for us as craft beer drinkers, one of your OGs in Ontario is Bose, and so us as people who would travel from Montreal to the Oktoberfest, now it's like, hopefully they'll bring it back.
Hopefully the community is going to stick up, and the guys down there are going to be manning as if the Steam is not owning it, or I reckon. I hope so. Hope for them.
I mean, they got good distribution with Bose for Canada, so it's just the way I see it is there are going to be job losses, but they're still there, which is great. So, and then so that's obviously you're clearly under a year old. With the festivals coming back, do you see yourself doing Festival de la Bière de Laval, the Mondial, whatever festivals in Drummondville?
I was in the chat with Veronique, my partner, and we had 2 people approach us, 2 festivals, and we decided to went to both of them. One is a small one from Sorel. It's on Saint-Jean, 23, 24, 25th. A little small festival there. It's going to be our first festival, so we'll get our hands dirty there. And second one will be in Laval. So
I'm such a big fan of Laval.
So it's Guillaume that invited us, so we were pretty happy. He's a good guy, so decided to invite us there. So we got a place down there. Looking forward to it.
There's something a little more comfortable about Laval to me than the Mondial. I don't know why, but it's just maybe it's because it's a big open area.
Actually, I never went to the Mondial, so I couldn't tell you about it. But what I saw in the pictures of Laval was pretty nice. I don't know how much it compares to Chambly in the facts, because I never...
Chambly's something else. I mean,
Chambly's an awesome place.
Labor Day weekend, you're looking at 50,000 people in this small little Quebec city.
It's crammed. It's crazy, but it's always good fun when you go there.
Yeah.
Don't drink and drive.
No. I've taken the bus from Bonaventure to Chambly, and then it's another bus to the festival. And if you don't want to take the bus back, then it's an hour-ish. But still, it's like you said, don't drink or drive ever.
Get a little hotel room there and have fun.
If you have a designated driver, you buy them extra beers one night at the bar.
All those non-alcoholic beers, or there's
exactly.
Or there's kombuchas here. They'll drink that.
Yeah, I mean, there's everything at beer festivals now, from food to extra stuff. I know at Laval they have a blacksmith making like bottle openers. It's Laval's something else, and we're hoping as a show to go to Laval and be all beer inside at the Laval Beer Festival. So, hoping. Now you're still an infant when you consider it in the craft beer world. Have you collabed with anybody, or is there anybody you'd love to collab with? Whether it either be just Quebec or Canada or the US, like what are a couple of those breweries you'd love to collab with, but also who have you already collabed with?
Yeah, well, I'm still baby steps here, like trying to get the brew house on timing and stuff like that. So the collabs are something I'm looking at. I did one with the Ketch. Was it last autumn in September with Guillaume from there. Real nice looking IPA called Elysian with some honey in that, and it was pretty nice, pretty tasty. We just got one out with the guys from Nano Cinco, which are looking to open their brewery in Quebec this autumn, I reckon. Yeah, we're always looking to get those collabs in. So since it's a good energy going on, there's share your knowledge and having fun, having to drink beer and trying to get those double brews in one day. It gets heavy, but it's always good fun. So and like I said, I'm doing a lot of local stuff as well, like on the mnemonic here. The one with the Wiltor Cafe in Saint-Ours. It's a little micro torrefactor. And I asked him, I want that kind of coffee. He roasted that. 2 days afterwards, I had that in my fermenter. So really nice tasting coffee. It was really cool. And all my hack sap there's a lot of local people here, so I just accept berries. I just got them from them. So it's I like to get my little things going up. But as for other breweries going, like, man, there's a lot of good ones. Like I'm more IPA focused. I don't know, man. There's a lot of nice ones.
I'm imagining Alchemist in Stowe.
Yeah, well, the Alchemist, there is a tree house, would be nice. I kind of like the vibe of Godspeed, even if he's not that much IPAs. I like that vibe going on from him in his brewery.
He's a former Montrealer too.
Yeah, he's from Montreal. So, he went to Japan, I reckon, and that's what I heard. At some point, came back, opened his brewery, and seems to be working well. Like when I went to get those bad boys in Toronto, checking them up, stopped by. They were closed, but their little shop was open, so I got some beer out of him, and it was quite tasty.
Yeah. We were lucky not. So the first year of the pandemic, the September, as a show, we were lucky enough to do a bunch of interviews in the Toronto GTA area, and we went by Godspeed just for kind of a quick meal and a beer, and I'm like, oh my god, like, wow, it's not really the Japanese focus and his beer, and then I'm talking to the waitress, she's like, yeah, he's from Montreal. I'm like, wait, what? Like, why couldn't you just keep this in Montreal instead of moving to Toronto? So.
I don't know his take on why Toronto instead of Montreal, but he did his thing there and it worked pretty well.
Yeah, hopeful future interview for All Beer Inside is Godspeed and more GTA, more Quebec. Like I said, Bob McDowell and you are our first Montérégie interviews, and we're hoping more. Even though it's right next Brassard is Elements, we're obviously gonna do Quebec and Ontario first, and then from there. But it's just there's so many of you guys just keep pop open.
Got to go New Brunswick and get a plane to Vancouver or a train there and do some interviews on the train.
Yeah, we have a friend who did Nova Scotia, and he's like, there's this place called Tatamagouche, and I'm like, I've never heard of it, and he's like, fantastic brewery. There's a brewery dog that like tries to eat people's food, and I'm like, I need to do that, and just to like interview the brewery dog, even though he won't answer me. So.
I just give him a few little dog bones. He'll like that.
Yeah. Now, clearly, like I said, you're a smaller Quebec town. I'm sure more macro drinkers than non-macro drinkers, but you have a macro drinker come in. What are a couple of beers that you're like, here, try these, and you'll probably enjoy these?
The ever-educating process. Yeah, for sure. Like macro drinkers, a lot of people around here drink it. They want to support me, so like... At first, I was always doing IPAs, and I don't do blondes that much. I don't do red ales or brown ales. I don't. That's totally not my specialty. And giving them a double dry hop IPA is out of the question. And sour beers is also out of the question, because souring it's not what they're looking for when they're coming from a Coors. But mainly, I give them my pseudo lagers, which is actually super easy drinking, a bit dryish, a bit more in the grain than whatever Bud or Coors has. Yeah. So trying to keep it really simple, but then again, like I always have that hoppy like back in my mind. So this one is hop with Motueka. I had one called Calculus, was hop with Strata actually. So it's off the chop. It's not at all a lager hop, but came out really nice. That little like fruitiness came up, and using the Kvike yeast to give that lagery taste without being a lager was kind of my fun part about that. So just my second iteration there. So I just give them the soda lager if they want something easy drinking. Even the Continuum here, which is quite easy. Still hoppy, but then again, it's easy. There's no bitterness at all. So
awesome. Now, clearly, you're very busy, family life and the brewery. But once there's time to take that beer vacation you've never taken, that beercation, where are you going?
And I've been chatting with my girlfriend, my sister, and her boyfriend. And before pandemic, we wanted to go and just have a nice round of beers in Burlington, have a look, it's a nice little place, and just hit the spots around. So that's one beer vacation I would just love to enjoy. We're just a girlfriend and the sister, and not the kids, so we can enjoy the day without parenting there. But yeah, that would be awesome as well. Like the New York scene would be nice to hit as well. Nice, like I'm a lot into IPAs, so there's a lot of nice breweries there. I would love to see their bar and their brewery as well. So yes.
Yeah, I mean Brooklyn and Queens are so many breweries. It's and you take the train. You take the train, you take the train, you take the train, you walk, you take the train. Oh, I don't feel like waiting for the train, I'll take an Uber. It's New York City, you're going to get an Uber in 30 seconds.
No, that's it's a nice little spot for that, for the discovery of the brews. And yeah, so that those are close by.
Yeah.
I went to Australia and New Zealand about, I would say 15 years ago.
Okay.
Spent about 2 years there. And the brew scene down there looks amazing as well. Their hop is crazy, so I wouldn't imagine what they have versus what we have.
Yeah.
It would be a nice little road trip there. Well, not plane trip, not road trip.
There's one brewery in, I think it's New Zealand, and they have cartoonish kaijus, monsters, on their labels. And even though I don't know what the beer's like, but just because, like I say, I'm visually drawn to a beer, is I have to go try this brewery. And it's like Godzilla, but he's super cartoony with the big like Japanese giant eye and like the anime eye. So I'm like, the beer's just like fun.
Gets you. Well, that's it. Like, it's all about fun as well. Like if it's too serious, it attracts that kind of crowd. But then again, if you're just having fun, just slapping some nice artwork there. Nice little analogy here. Not knocked him like they're cats, man.
Yeah.
Cats. Okay, but it works. It's nice looking. People remember that, and people are drawn to it. So it's just funny looking, and like maybe it's their vibe from the Noctem brewery that it's pushed out on their cans. But it's a fun way to see it.
When things are good to go again, what's next is perspective. Obviously, you mentioned the terrace.
Yeah, the terrace is it's up and going. Like
maybe having a tap room at some point. Should you be able to do like an add-on, or like what's next for your brand?
Well, for now, the next step, like, we're just focused on the terrace, and the second next step would be to have another place. Like, for this place to evolve, it's too small, so we're maybe gonna go and plug ourselves to the building in the back, or just looking at another building close by and saying we just want to stay here in Saint-Liboire. So, but yeah, we definitely need a tap room. That's what I'm looking at, looking forward at having people come in and order some brews and sit down and have fun and chat about our beers and about their fun days and bad days, whatever.
Plus, I mean, you can clearly employ local as well too, which is another thing is keeping it community focused. So.
Yeah, that's the one thing. One of my first employee here is part-time employee was my neighbor. He came here to can with me a couple times, and it's like, hey, you want to work with us a few hours per week? Last from July to December, he was with us. Started his stage at his work, his school, and he's not going to be able to come back this summer. But it's getting students here that enjoy beer. They're going to enjoy working here. So it's getting locals in and to work with us and enjoy the place.
I mean, just grab somebody from the Sure program. Be like, you want to learn? You learn under me.
Get over here.
You start on the canning line, and I know, we've spoken with other brewers. There's like, I literally started cleaning kegs, and now I own a brewery. So
a lot of people when they aim to that. They get out of school, get their homework done, and then it's not easy to own a place. And there's a lot of homework and stuff to do. I'm still doing my homework, but it's good fun for now. Like, I'm enjoying it as well. Like, it's a lot of challenge, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd personally love to own a brewery and be like the project manager, but when it comes to the brewing, I'd have to hire somebody to
get a head brewer.
Just a few places, it's the owners we've spoken to are, I need a brewer. The science is beyond me of when it comes to actually making good beer. And yeah, they still clean out the mash tuns because they're the owner and they have to do certain things. And I'll call up a farmer and be like, come and pick up my wort.
There's always stuff like you got to work with broken stuff. Got to get those the spent grains out. There's a lot of stuff to manage, and you got to get that beer out as well. So manager does that, but head brewer is he's a good guy to have if you own a brewery. Got to be creative as well.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this has been great. I have no other questions for you today. I really appreciate you taking time out of your extremely busy
My
schedule
pleasure.
To speak with us about your brewery. I suggest anybody who's in the area between Montreal and Quebec City, it's right in the middle. Come on, check them out. So
Come on in.
let the audience know where they can find you.
Yeah, well, we're actually located right after Saint-Hyacinthe if you're coming from Montreal, or a bit after Drummondville if you're coming from Quebec. It's in Saint-Liboire. It's about a 5-minute drive off the 20. Small little town. This summer we'll be open weekdays. We don't have the schedule yet. We invite you to go on Facebook or on a website. We'll have a nice little terrace for you guys to enjoy our beers out on nice days. So looking forward to serve you guys some nice beer.
Amazing. As for us, everything's going to be in the show notes, so just click on the links to check them out for what the future hours are and things like that during the summer. Obviously, clearly, hours and everything is changing every day in the world right now. As for us, allbeerinside.com is the website, at allbeerinside on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.